Hi, and welcome to the third objective for chapter 15. So last chapter we looked at why price is greater than marginal revenue for a monopolist. In this chapter, what we're going to look at is how do monopolists actually choose their price and quantity. And you'll see that the quantity makes sense because it's where marginal revenue and marginal cost meet, just like we discussed in previous chapters. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you and we'll go ahead and get to it. Okay, so again, we're taking a look at how do monopolists choose their price and their quantity. Okay, so remember our point of profit maximization. Okay, let's just kind of have a little remediation in our point of profit maximization. So remember profits maximized, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And remember, marginal revenue is just the slope of the total revenue curve. And remember, marginal cost is just the slope of the total cost curve. Okay. So we're still going to produce where marginal revenue and marginal cost meet. Okay. So we want to, but the difference here is the product's not homogeneous. The product is in fact differentiated. So that means that the monopolist gets to choose the price at which they're going to produce this product. So let's go ahead and see how this would work. Here we have a marginal revenue and marginal cost for a monopolist, and we have a demand curve, the willingness that people, the price that people are willing and able to pay. So let me go ahead and first most important point to find these days, remember, is where marginal revenue and marginal cost meet. We're going to follow that down to the quantity. So this will be the quantity that maximizes profitability. And so we say, okay, there's how the monopolist will determine the quantity that they produce. At what price will they charge? This is where they're going to they're going to extend this line up to the demand curve, and then they're going to follow it over to the y-axis. And this will be the price that monopolists will charge. So they are able to capture that idea of a person's willingness and ability to pay. Okay, now, are they profitable? Yes, I'm going to tell you that already, but we would need the average total cost curve to really decide how profitable that they are. Okay, there we go. Here's our average total cost curve. So now we can make some better decisions. So taking the information that we had from the previous slide, here's the price, here's the quantity, and remember this quantity maximizes profit because it's where marginal revenue, marginal cost meet. Now, just like we did in a perfectly competitive market, we can look at that bottom portion and we can say that this portion right here, this rectangle, if you will, and let me just go ahead and highlight that for you. This rectangle here would be the amount of profit that the monopolist gets. We're going to see why it might actually be more than that later on. But again, this is kind of sets a baseline for what we look at in a monopoly. Okay, now the other objective we wanted to look at here, not really a big objective, but a sub-objective of this, is to ask, where is the supply curve on a monopoly? Well, remember that a monopoly there's only one producer. So, because there's one producer, the marginal cost curve is the supply curve. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. Okay, quantity does not depend on price. That's kind of an important idea to think about. Quantity does not depend on price. Remember, they're the only producer. So they're definitely going to make sure that they produce where profit is maximized, and we know that that is where marginal revenue and marginal cost are the same. So no supply curve for a monopoly, because the monopoly is the supply curve. There is no industry. So in this objective, we've kind of looked at how does a monopoly determine its price and its quantity, always knowing that its quantity will be where marginal revenue and marginal cost are the same. In the next objective, we're going to take a look at why might a monopoly be able to capture even more of the types of markets. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks.